The Rustenburg 200, round 4 of the Northern Region's Off-Road Championship for motor vehicles and the third round for motorcycles and quads, was recently held in the Waterval area near Rustenburg and attracted over 200 entries. One of the main contenders in the production vehicle category was Mark Webber from the Gearbox and Diff Centre Toyota.
We started about 2 years ago doing the racing. We started with a lone bakkie. We rolled in the first year, and from there we just took it, and 2 years later we're doing very well. We won the last year's championships, and we're trying to do that this year again.
Derek de Wit is a contender for the Special Vehicle Championship title, but doesn't underestimate the competition.
My biggest competition is World Peter Boom Fight. So, but we might give our best shot and see how it goes. Same for him, we can break the car and he can break his car. So if the car stays together, you will do well. So see how it goes.
Competition in the quad category is stiff, with Rustenburg 200 winner Kobus Oberholzer the Class L championship leader.
Well, no, there's not a major difference. The only difference is going to be, what I must do is I have to stay in front, because there's going to be a lot of dust. And once you are in front and there's no problems like punches on the tires and technical stuff like when you're falling down or so, because you're losing much of a hell of time. So all I'm going to do is, as I said, I'm going to try and keep my cool and just finish the race.
Carl Leroux has a 20-point lead over his nearest rival in the open motorcycle class.
Die punte is baie naby mekaar, so ek dink die kompetisie gaan nog baie lekker en straf wees vandag. Ek weet dis baie van die lokale mense wat kom ry wat ook in die top 5 posisies is. So die kompetisie gaan lekker sterk wees.
Gearbox and Diff Centre rider Brian Bentley leads the Class K championship in the quad category after finishing in the runner-up position on the first 2 events.
At this stage I'm running a harder compound tyre, something more to dig, because as far as I hear there's a couple of rocky stages through here. So I've gone for a harder tyre, a bit bigger, a lot stronger.
The route consisted of 3 64-kilometre loops, with motor vehicles scheduled to start first, followed by the motorcycles and quads. The regional events have a core group of competitors whose ranks grow at each event, with the occasional national championship contender using the events as test runs in preparation for the next round of the ABSA Off-Road Championship. As always, there were last-minute adjustments. There was drama in the Hendrik Reineke camp.
Dit lyk op die topgasket geblaas het, ons is nie seker nie. Een ou sê ons moet ry, die ander ou sê ons moet nie ry nie. Ons weet nie, ons gaan maar ry. Nou kyk wat gebeur. As hy waarom loop het, ons eerder op, ons wil nie engine.
Hy moet hom draai, moet hom insit en dit gelyk.
Special Vehicle Championship leader Wolf Peter Fomfie led the field away in one of the WPP special vehicles that he designed and built. The veteran racer has proved that consistency is the name of the game in off-road racing. Former production vehicle champion Alfred van Vuren and Werner Otten followed 30 seconds later in the Class D Nissan hardbody that they also campaign in the ABSA Off-Road Championship. Freiburg 200 winners Hendrik Reineke and Jaco van Tondo decided to start the race despite the fact that the Toyota Land Cruiser had a suspected blown head gasket. The telltale clouds of steam and smoke pouring from the exhaust were a sure sign that the problem was terminal. Malcolm Koch and Reynard Jacobs won Class E at the Nampo 400 and the Freiburg 200 and were likely podium finishers in the Toyota Hilux, as were husband and wife Ger and Caroline Juster and Frank and Delian de Greef in the Toyota Hilux. Johan Mitchell and Willem Mutter won Class C in the first 2 rounds of the championship, but had a non-finish at the Freiburg 200, while Mark Webber and Marcus van der Berg in the Gearbox and Diff Centre Toyota has some catching up to do after 3 successive third-place finishes in Class E. Hardis Alberts and Colin Hunter used the Rustenburg 200 to shake down the Rapsa Raceco for the forthcoming Toyota 100 Desert Race in Botswana. Fomfi was still in command at the head of the field, but coming under pressure from Van Vuren and Otten in the Nissan hardbody. Reineke and Van Tonder were on a charge, but it would be short-lived, while arch rivals Koch and Jacobs had matters well under control in Class E. Vryburg 200 winners, Gert and Caroline Juster's ambition was to bring the Atlas Copco Sandmaster across the finish line first and take over the championship lead. Weber and Van der Berg were 7th overall, but about to lose a position to the hard-charging Alberts, who returned to competition last season after a lengthy sabbatical. The gearbox and diff center Toyota pair was now 8th overall and 5th in the production vehicle category, but had Henk Bester and Ernie Griesel in the Class E Old Man Emu Toyota Hilux hard on their heels. Brothers Hendrik and Johannes Fourie in the locally designed and constructed Zarco were also using the event as a test run for the Toyota 1000. Van Vuren and Otten were on a charge at the head of the field, which was finding the going rather tough in the rough and dusty conditions. Fomfi was 2nd overall and leading the special vehicle category in the WPP, but only just. The Juster couple had upped their pace and were not only intent on overtaking him, but also the leading Nissan, while behind them, Alberts and Hunter had much the same plan in mind. Class wins have eluded the De Greef couple that finished 3rd in Class T in the Rustenburg 200 and 2nd on the next two events. Weber and Van der Berg had gained 2 places, but incidents such as this would cost them valuable time that they could ill afford to lose, because Jannie Visser and Jacques Leroux in the Toyota Hilux were steadily gaining ground on them. Visser's Toyota is the fabled Fred, in which Cassie Coetzee and Richard Leek won numerous national championship races in years gone by. Willy Jabert and Dion Barweiser's race was run. The Fourie brothers had a comfortable lead in Class B and were 8th overall in the immaculately turned out Zarco. They would have to up their pace because brothers Derek and Peter de Wit were getting too close for comfort in the Prolong Orco, as were the Van Kraan brothers in another Class B Zarco.
Toe ons wil wegspring, toe sien ons hy kort water en alles, toe ons al vermoed die topgasket het gegaan. Goed gery, vir hom Alfred op sy gey gewees en hoe klim jy dit net? Gooi water, maar lyk my alles loop in die olie in. So is verby vir ons.
An hour into the race and there was a new overall leader. Alberts and Hunter had gained 4 places and now had a dust-free run. The Atlas Copco Sandmaster wasn't far behind, with the Justers gaining 2 places when early race leader Van Vuren picked up a puncture and when they managed to get past Fomfi, who was now 3rd overall in the WPP. Weber and Van der Berg were 4th, but not for long. Visser and Leroux nipped by, and the race between the two crews was now on. The 6-cylinder powered Class T Toyota Hilux had the edge on the 4-cylinder Class E Toyota Hilux, and the odds of Webber catching Visser were slim, especially as they had to stop to replace a flat wheel. Frank and Leon de Kreef took advantage of Webber's misfortune. The de Kreefs were second in Class T and chasing that elusive Class win, while Webber and Van der Berg were again having to play catch-up in the Class E leading gearbox and diff center Toyota Hilux. "30 minutes later, and there was a new leader. This time, Gey and Caroline Juster in the Atlas Copco Sandmaster, who had managed to get past Alberts and Hunter, who had picked up problems on the Rapsa raceco. Fomfy was second overall, but could not have been too happy with what he could see in his rear-view mirrors. Visser was anxious to get past, but Fomfy had nowhere that he could turn off. Visser couldn't see a gate looming in the dust and had to take avoiding action. Webber had the de Kreefs in his sights. The gearbox and diff center Toyota was 4th overall and 2nd in the production vehicle category. Not bad for a 4-cylinder powered vehicle. Frank and Leon de Kreef previously raced in the National Championship, but decided to concentrate their efforts on the Regional Championship this year. So far, to good effect. Special Vehicle Championship contenders Derek and Peter de Wit were 6th overall. On the motorcycle front, a battle raged between race